hopefully all of you made your decisions to not play Jordan Mason like I did not play Jordan Mason last night because he was a steaming pile of turds. I am Flying Ryan Gokers along with
Temple Motor Mouth Joel Verone. We are doing book talk book and movie talk off air.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. All of them came in today. He recommended another book from the past, and a movie's been made of it, the Ready Player One, or that. We'll see how it goes. I want to read more than I do. We'll see how long it takes for me to actually get into all of these. But yeah, talking a little bit of the pop culture stuff off air. We'll talk more about the football stuff
The
on air here shortly.
Vikings definitely need to adopt the don't panic mentality.
Yes, don't panic. Also, don't panic if you have Nico Collins or AJ Brown, who are both ruled out for Sunday as of now. Nico just coming through.
Is AJ Brown chirping on social media because of his injury, or you just think it's AJ?
A little bit of both. I mean, AJ is kind of just that guy, but at the same time, he is going to be out, so he's going to have more time to hit the Twitters real hard and make sure he can complain to everybody.
Spread the joy.
Yeah. So if you have Nico Collins or AJ Brown, they have officially been ruled out. Of course, I'm trying to also ruled out Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall. Guys, you're not counting on at this point anyways, just because they've been out for so long.
And from this post, you have Tyrod Taylor, Josh Reynolds, Mason Taylor, and Breece Hall are all questionable for Sunday's game, but Aaron Glenn likes how they're trending, and I'm just like, yeah, nothing new there. The Jets have been questionable since week 1.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson, though, has been ruled out for the Jets. That is a big one. Panthers listing quarterback Bryce Young as doubtful, which I think we all expect to be out anyways.
The Red Rifle has come to week 8.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley for the Titans ruled out. He's been irrelevant for most of the season on your fantasy teams. Cole Kmet ruled out as well. Someone you're probably not counting on. Also, Dontavian Wicks ruled out. Someone else you're not counting on. Emeka Egbuka is expected to play as well as DJ Moore and Alvin Kamara.
G is silent, kids.
I know. I just like calling him Begbu more than anything, but
we don't do as many times as Perna does it, but
Eggbegbu, Eggbegbu, Egbuka. Ebook.
We get it.
Eggbegbu.
And of course, you had the NFLPA have found the Giants violated the concussion protocols. Yeah. They fined the team $200K, Dable $100K, and Cam Scattermoo $15K.
Yeah, not a surprise. This goes back to when Russell Wilson was on the field for 2 plays. Head coach Brian Dable goes in the tent like, "Hey, what's going on? I need my guy back." Cam Scattermoo
that's why they violated, because they were seeing Russ play. They say, "Come on, get Dart back out here, please, we need him back out here. It's bad."
Yeah, one of my favorite AI videos I've seen of all time is Brian Dable ripping the curtain back on. He's fine, Doc. He's fine. We need him out there. Have you seen Russell Wilson? He's killing us. We need him back. He's fine. Yeah, but a big fine, not as bad as the NBA situation, but a big fine for the Giants. They are 2-5, but I think they're on the right track at the very least to have a better than expected season.
Then on the waiver wire, one of recent days, you had Justin Herbert talking about Gadsden. Quote, "We're definitely going to get him the ball as much as we can because good things happen when he gets it. So, if you had him, you're happy. If you go against him, not so much."
Yeah, let's talk about him. 5 for 5 on the receptions to targets, 77 yards, and a touchdown. A huge night for fantasy, something that cannot be said for one Quentin Johnson, who had the donut
milk carton.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey, 6 catches on 10 targets for 88 yards and a touchdown.
He back, and he's back.
Yeah, Keenan Allen 4 for 44, and Kamani Vidal 1 catch for 10 yards. Also chipped in 23 carries for 117 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Yeah, Christian Kirk also ruled out. Justin Herbert had 62 rushing yards to go with his 227 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. So a big day for Justin Herbert. If we look at the Vikings, of course, the Chargers did win
Mm,
this game 37-10. Not very close.
yeah, just the Vikings pretty much. The main take I think away was just rough night for Wentz as just he was just absolutely breaking down on the sideline in tears, and he's still being left in the game through his helmet one time. You have Kirk Herbstreit, criticizing him, saying, "Is this how an alpha male is supposed to behave? To act?" And
Yeah, I had a problem with that because I understand he's basically saying your leader can't be over there sulking. If you watch the game, which Kurt
he's not
Herbstreit
sulking; he was inflicting freaking
commentated the game,
pain.
yeah, you saw how often Carson Wentz would get tackled, would get sacked. He had a left shoulder problem every time he got hit, went
'Cause you
down.
know they're
He's
targeting that
grabbing that
corner.
arm.
They're whole going, "Get him on that side. Get him out of
Yeah,
the game."
they're not going out of their way to hit it. Like if they can make him
Yeah,
land on his right side, they're not trying to roll him to his left, but they're not shying away from that left side. So for Kirk to be like, well, he's an alpha, he's a leader, he can't be over there. He's like, his shoulder's probably separated, or his rotator cuff is pulling apart, his AC joint is whatever the actual injury is.
trying
He
to play
played.
through that every single snap just has to be excruciating.
Yeah, let me pull up what the actual injury is. I know it is to the shoulder. Carson Wentz. Where is it? I know he had an injury. Do they not talk about it on here? All right, they don't want to talk about what it actually is on Sleeper. So fantastic. But yeah, he was clearly hurt for the
You're
entirety of
thinking
that
about it.
game. Every time he would go down, he would grab that arm. He'd go to the bench. He'd wince in pain,
Why
and
did KOC keep him in there? Put in your scrub. The game's lost. You really didn't think there's any chance of the Vikings actually winning this, and just let Wentz recover.
I think there's a point where we were all looking at that game, going, "Get him out of there. He's too injured. He's going to get worse." Um,
You're
I
gonna
would
have
say
long
earlier in the fourth. I mean, Brosmer did come in 3 for 4 for 13 yards, but it was the last drive of the game. He probably could have pulled Wentz with 7-8 minutes left. At least gave him a little bit of punishment. At least that Kirk Herbstreit interaction at the end of the game. That was after I think he should have already been pulled. Between the injury and the score, there was really no reason to keep him out there. The Vikings, a terrible night all around. Wentz did go 15 for
horrible.
27, 144 yards, a touchdown and an interception. The leading rusher on the night, they only had 34 total yards as a team, was Xavier Scott, Zonovan Scott. I don't even know what his first name is. Z Scott, 2 for 16, garbage time. Aaron Jones, 5 for 15. Jordan Mason, 4 carries for
Wow.
3 yards with a long of 4. I mean, he had 1 carry for 4 yards and everything else went backwards. Justin Jefferson, though, 7 for 74, a good fantasy night. Jordan Addison salvaged it with a touchdown, 3 for 26 and a touchdown. Everybody else was just not worth it. Yeah, Aaron Jones, 2 for 15. Hawkinson, 2 for 26. It's just, I don't think this is a good passing team with J.J. McCarthy, with Carson Wentz. When you face a good, aggressive defense like the Chargers were, they got on top of them early and just keep beating them down. Um, it's just they're not built for the comeback right now. We'll see if JJ McCarthy comes in, has that mentality, can get him back going the right way. I think he's expected back in week number 9. But the Vikings 3-4, last place in the NFC North, the only team below 500. The Chargers 5-3, half game behind Denver, pending their result this weekend against Dallas for the top of that division, a half game ahead of Kansas City.
And and after this night, I think we could use with a little bit of levity. Yes?
Always.
For levity, item number one, how about Ben Johnson on a free hot dog giveaway if he takes his shirt off for a Bears win? Quote, it's a little disturbing. Why would we want to do that? I'm a man of the people. So time will tell. And quote the background for this is apparently the Wiener Circle, a Chicago-based hot dog stand, had announced a promotion offering free hot dogs to the city. Chicago Bears head coach Ben Johnson removes his shirt during after any Bears victory this season.
The Wiener Circle. The
Hmm.
hot dog place is called the Wiener Circle. All right.
Uh, uh,
We're gonna let that one sit and simmer because there's something else that's a Wiener Circle that we're not going to talk about on here. But
that's
you
okay.
probably know what it is out there.
Then we have parody number
Clip
two.
it, clip it.
This is parody number two, as this promotion was definitely shared on social media, and hopefully I'm saying the author's name right. Mike Meauvais, Meauvais.
That's pronounced Egbegbu.
Oh, so it's Mike Abegbu.
Egbegbu.
And as he writes in his parody commercial, the NBA is very concerned about the multiple arrests made as a result of the FBI's sports gambling code. Use code multiple arrests for a 30% profit boost on a three-leg parlay with DraftKings, the official gambling partner of the NBA.
Yeah, it's hard to be upset when all of these leagues have become partners with the gambling sites that there's gambling going on. As long as it doesn't interfere with the integrity of the game, I don't care if the players gamble as long as it's not on their sport or their games at the very least. But I saw Benchwarmer Brand, who's another YouTuber, does a lot of goofy, funny stuff. He had one about Terry Rozier. He's like, "Hey, this play, I'm going to get you the ball. You're going to pass. It should be a guaranteed assist." He's like, "What? What? How many assists do I have? Two. The over 2.5 in the first half. What? Don't worry. He gets the ball, kicks it in the stands. Oh, for whatever reason, Rozier kicks the ball into the stands, and that's halftime. Now, coming up, the Rolling Stones, sponsored by FanDuel for your halftime performance. Like, what? Yeah, you get in bed with a gambling company and get upset with his gambling on the backside.
And
I don't
then
condone it when it affects the games, but you can't be surprised this keeps happening.
and then Babylon B had a good one, quote, good headlines. Because of the tariffs, the Toronto Blue Jays will begin tonight's game with a 7-run deficit.
Hey, that would be unfortunate unless you're rooting for the Dodgers.
So yeah, we need to just after the bummer with after the with just how long Wentz was just left in there. That'd be like leaving a pitcher in there and you just gave up 5 runs and you're going, why the hell is he still in there?
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight in the World Series, Game One. There was a story about I don't know if it's part of your final thoughts or not. A Dodgers player having to leave.
Nope, it is not. So if you want to yak about it, go ahead.
Let me see if I can find it because this was one of the bigger stories of uh, of the weekend. Let me see if I can find it. Of course, it's buried under. Yeah, Alex Vezia is going to be missing the World Series, or at least part of it, due to a personal matter with him and his wife. I don't want to read into too much of it. That does read with possible loss of child
Mm.
to go on the darkest side of things. But when you bring the wife in with a personal family matter, that does tend to make it think it's more of the nuclear family type of situation. It could be an in-law that's sick. It could be his parents or something like that. I don't know, brother. Um, I have a feeling it's a little bit more of a family, nuclear family type of tragedy. Hopefully, everything works out for them,
Amen.
and he can be back and play. And hopefully, obviously, both of them are okay. But not necessarily what you want to have to deal with when your team's going to the World Series. But of course, life trumps sports in most situations.
All right. Shall anything else? Shall we get to the nose pickings?
Let's go to the picks. I already have yours in for this first one. I am positive I know where you're going with the pick, but it's Miami at Atlanta. The Dolphins, it's Devon Achan and probably nothing else. Maybe Jalen Waddle if you are
Until he
feeling
gets traded.
dangerous. I don't think either one of them gets traded. I really don't. I think this is one of those teams where Greer is going to be so stubborn. He's not going to fire McDaniels. He's not going to move Tua. He's not going to move these key pieces that can get assets. And but don't hear what I'm not saying here. I, as a Dolphins fan, do not want Achan and I do not want Waddle to be traded. I want them both to stay in Miami. They're pieces you can build around very, very easily if you have competent management and coaching. And that is two things the Dolphins right now do not have. Also, competent ownership and quarterback play, also not checked off on the list for the Dolphins. All of that being said, Achan, definitely startable. Waddle in some deeper leagues with the bye weeks. He might be forced into your lineup. For the Falcons, uh,
Bijan, 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 Bijan.
Bijan is going to have a monster game. The Dolphins have the worst run defense in the NFL. They have for a while, and it's worse than it's ever been. We saw Bijan torch Buffalo 2 weeks ago. It could be one of those games. With that in mind, Penix, Mooney, Pitts, and Drake London are all good options this week because the
Even
Dolphins
Tyler
defense is
Algier
bad,
might be a sneaky
and
start.
Tyler Algier, of course. But keep in mind with the passing game, this one could get ugly very, very quickly. And if it does, Penix, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Mooney could all be on the back burner by halftime. This could be a big Bijan and Tyler Algier game. It could be a trap for those other players just because they don't need them this week.
Yeah, you just look at the most Vegas odds -7.5. Obviously,
I'll
Falcons
take the spread.
-440, almost $5, and over under 44.5.
Yeah. It's it's a game, I guess, technically. Atlanta has been much better at home. They are hosting this game. Miami, it was a bad weather game last week. I do think there's a part of you that just needs to say, okay, chuck it. It was a bad weather game. We didn't perform. We're not built for ground and pound as the Dolphins. Maybe it gets better. The Atlanta defense has been very good against pretty much all facets of the game this season. But Joel, like I said, I already have your pick in. I haven't asked you about it, but I'm 99.999% sure I got it right. But Joel, tell me why you're taking the Dolphins. No, you're not taking.
No, no.
Yeah, you're not taking the Dolphins. I have Atlanta down. I already know that.
If you lose this, you should be freaking disqualified from winning the NFC effing South. I'm sorry, because your Dolphins are that bad. And prop pick, what do you think there are more of flying? Tyler Algier touchdowns or Tua
Tua
INTs?
picks.
Yeah,
Tua interceptions for sure. I
Tua
think there's a
INT,
question there with Bijan touchdowns that's legitimate, but as far as Algier, he may only get one, and
Tua,
I think two is at least good for two of them.
Tua INTs or Tua pick sixes?
Well, you can't do any worse than a push, but I would say it's. I don't think he throws a pick six. I just think he throws two or three bad interceptions, and we see Quinn Ewers once again, which maybe that's what we need. Just see what you got. Maybe
We're,
he's great. Right
shall
now,
we?
they're the number 2 pick in the draft, I believe, behind only the Jets. So if you're gonna go and get another quarterback in the draft, like this would be a great time to find a way to trade Tua for, I don't know, half a bag of Cheetos, and just get him off your roster, that contract out of there, which I don't think is going to happen. The Dolphins are in a bad situation long term with the Tua contract, highly guaranteed money. It's just bad. But we're both on Atlanta with this one.
Shall we mosey on to Baltimore?
Yeah, this one a little more interesting. Lamar is listed as questionable, even though he did practice a Chicago going into Baltimore. If Lamar Jackson plays, you're going to play him. Derrick Henry, you're going to play him as well. Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, they are options, maybe a little bit more risky options, but with the big bye apocalypse week with 6 teams on bye, you're probably going to have to play him. Rome Odunze, DeAndre Swift, definitely in your lineup. I think Burden and
I think
DJ
I saw
Moore are at
DeAndre
least.
Swift was questionable, might be out.
Well, I'll pull that up. If he is out, Manungai is a very good option as well. I got to be honest, I don't have any shares of DeAndre Swift, so I do not get as many notifications about what's going on with him. He is officially questionable to play with a groin injury. He was held out of practice Wednesday, limited Thursday and Friday. I would think he is likely to play, but Manungai would be a good person to grab on waivers just in case something happens. If DeAndre Swift misses this game, Mongai is a very good play. They might both be a good play because the Baltimore defense is just that bad. Again, DJ Moore, Luther Burden. Maybe take the flyer on Colson Loveland in some deeper leagues, but not much plays on any of those. Chicago comes in at 4-2. Baltimore at 1-5. I think if we'd have asked in the regular season, this is going to be a 4-2 versus a 1-5 game, we'd have had those records flipped. But that's not the reality situation because this year's NFL season has been absolutely insane. But if Baltimore gets Lamar Jackson back, it's a very different team after the bye week. Maybe they got healthy. If this defense is healthy, it could be a much more interesting game. But Joel, who do you got?
Yeah, even if no Lamar, but definitely sounds like it's trending to being the return of Lamar. But yeah, Ravens really need this if we're talking about the march back to 500. We're talking about the path to the playoffs, the path to still contend for the division. Everything starts here because if they don't get a win here, regardless of whoever is or is not at quarterback, I think you can stick a fork in their season here. And if they win, do they get the ping pong tables back?
I don't think they do. You're taking Baltimore. I'm going to take Chicago. I do think that they're still very beat up on defense, and the Chicago offense is going to be more effective. They can really shut down Derrick Henry and the running game to the best of their abilities. Um, I kind of believe Chicago is turning the corner. I know they haven't beaten great teams quite yet, but they have beaten good teams in the process with Dallas, which, given we don't know what Dallas really is. But Baltimore seems like a team that even if they lose this game, they're capable of winning the rest of them. Their
Yeah.
division is not the toughest. They can win every divisional game, probably go just over 500 outside of the divisional games, and still be in the mix. I don't think it's a must win, but it's pretty close to it. Falling to 1-6 would be a disaster, and I think it happens. And I think they have to try and right the ship very quickly after that.
Yeah, the Ravens not quite touchdown favorites, minus 6.5, minus 298, over and under 49.5.
And that does imply that Lamar Jackson will play, even though he is officially listed as questionable. Um, it's hard to believe in the Ravens just because they haven't been great. This could be a trap for
Defense
me because I'm used to the Ravens being as bad as they've been without Lamar Jackson, but their offense needs to go back to scoring 35 plus points a game like they were to start the season when they were 1-2. If they don't do that, I think Chicago takes care of business. And Chicago with Ben Johnson, hopefully he for the Wiener Circle, he takes his shirt off. That is a statement I probably should have thought about how I said that. Ben Johnson, take your shirt off for the Wiener Circle. That's gonna end up in an AI clip later, isn't it? Anyways, moving on.
Now,
Buffalo at Carolina. Joel,
at
what's the
least you
line?
didn't talk about a certain kind of play like I did the other week.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you don't talk about ass play at the Wiener Circle. You just don't do it. It's
Ew.
not. Anyways, next
Bills, Bills,
Buffalo,
are,
Carolina.
Bills are the favorites. Moving on from that, as we go to Carolina, Bills definitely the favorites here. Touchdown favorite minus 375 and over and under 46.5.
Yeah, going to be a backup quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. I do think Rico
Red
Dowdle.
rifle.
I do. I mean, Dalton's not a. He's not a Jake Browning level quarterback. You can do better than Jake Browning, and you do that with Andy Dalton. But backup quarterback still going to have his issues. I do think the Buffalo defense is terrible against the run. So Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard could both be playable this week. This could be one of those where the Panthers score 14 points. Each one of them gets a touchdown, 60, 70, 80 yards, and you're happy with the fantasy day one way or the other. Ted McMillan is a little bit more of a risky play, but with the buys, again, he's too good to really bench this week. And that's probably the end of the list for Carolina. Desperation super flex Andy Dalton for sure, but I think outside of that, you're not interested here. For Buffalo, Cook and Allen, 100% in your lineups. Dalton Kincaid trying to come back from the oblique injury. If he is playing, I think he's got to be in your lineup. Let me get an update on him. I just traded for him in the Dynasty League, getting rid of Jonathan Taylor. I got more than Kincaid, but rebuild. He is officially questionable to return on Sunday. If he does return, then he's going to be a must play at the tight end position. Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, iffy at the wide receiver position. But again, this is one of those weeks where those iffy plays might become solid considerations, and we'll see what happens. Buffalo, a huge road favorite. Underdog, Carolina Panthers going with a backup quarterback. Buffalo coming off the bye. It screams Buffalo winning on the road. However, Carolina's been much, much better at home. And Rico Dowdle in the last couple of weeks has showed that he can single-handedly take over and win a game. Buffalo's weak against the run. Joel, who do you got?
Bills are rested, and I think the break is the in momentum because it wasn't a good momentum from the Bills before the bye. Helps them kind of reset, and I think the Panthers give them their money's worth, but I think the Bills get a much needed win here. So I'm riding with the Bills.
I am rooting for Carolina. I'm not picking them, but I'm rooting for them. I think Buffalo takes care of business here. They're just too good, too deep, and they're not injured at the quarterback position, which Bryce Young is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL by any stretch of the imagination, but anytime you go from the starter to the backup, you tend to see a degradation in play. I think that happens here. Buffalo, just too many horses on the offensive side. Allen and Cook probably going to run all over this team and get the job done. Carolina, even though they've had some good defensive performances, has been against teams like the Falcons who didn't show up on the road and the Jets. I think it's still a pretty bad defense, and Buffalo should take care of business.
And then, baby, if you ever wondered whatever happened to me, I'm living on the air in Cincinnati, WKRP.
Yes, the Jets go to Cincinnati, and it looks like it's going to be Tyrod Taylor versus Joe Flacco. The quarterback
Wow.
matchup we all have been waiting for.
Bengals favorites, not surprisingly, is with -6, minus
Yeah.
298, and over and under of 44.5.
For the Jets, no Garrett Wilson. That means players like Mason Taylor, if he plays, Brees Hall, who is questionable as well. They're going to be your fantasy options in this one. Josh Reynolds looks like the wide receiver one without Garrett Wilson, and I don't know if he's still playable at that point. Tyrod Taylor should be better. He did. Hey, the Jets looked their best against the Buccaneers earlier in the season. That was a Tyrod Taylor game, so we'll see. It's just not a good situation for the Jets right now. For Cincinnati, I don't think Joe Flacco is a good play this week just because the Jets do tend to be a little bit better on the defensive side than the offensive side. However, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown have been very good the last couple of weeks with Joe Flacco there. I think they're going to be in your lineups this week for sure. Cincinnati 3-4, trying to weather the storm with Joe Burrow out. Joe Flacco's given the city hope. The Jets, I mean, I can't quote the fan base any better than I can the viral video of the fan who just said, "I hate this team." Everybody is down on the Jets. They are right now viewed as the only team worse than the Miami Dolphins. Thank you for the moral support. But you got to think they're going to win a game at some point. This isn't an 0-17 team, maybe. But Joel, is this the week the Jets get their first win, or they go to 0-8?
Yeah, I know the Bengals defense definitely presents a definite possibility, but no, I just think Flacco has brought the Bengals back from the shadow realm. And can Taylor do better than Fields? Well, he can't do any worse.
Real hard to do worse.
Yeah, the Jets have a shot at 0-17 this year, and I'm picking the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals as well. There's just too much talent there on the offensive side of the ball. That defense for the Jets is not holding up the way you would hope it would if you're a Jets fan. They are not a good team at 0-7. As a Dolphins fan, I really need the Jets to start winning some damn games because that number one overall pick the Dolphins have the chance at is probably very beneficial. But if I'm looking at the schedule, Bengals this week, Browns next week, Patriots, Ravens, Falcons, Dolphins again. That might be a big one. Jaguars, Saints could be interesting for them to win, and then Patriots and Bills. I see maybe 3 opportunities to win if you count the Brown. I don't think they have a good chance this week, but maybe the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Saints are probably the Jets' best opportunity to win the rest of the way. I don't see them beating the Patriots, the Ravens, the Falcons, the Jags, or the Bills. So it's going to be really tough for them to do better than a 2-win season. I haven't looked at the Dolphins schedule, but I'm pretty sure it's just as depressing. As we look at who gets the number one overall pick, Dolphins have the Falcons, Ravens, Bills, Commanders, Saints, Jets, Steelers, Bengals, Bucks, and Patriots. So you're looking at 2 wins possibly there with the Saints and Jets. So, yeah, that number one overall pick is going to be very, very interesting, and it's probably going to be possession of the AFC East no matter what. But both on Cincinnati, and we move on
To Texas.
to Houston, who is hosting the most beat up team in the league, the San Francisco 49ers. Again, no Purdy, no Pearsall. Hasn't been a problem yet. For the 49ers, you're going to ride Christian McCaffrey until the wheels come off or the injury occurs, because he is just that good. If you've got him in fantasy, you're going to be very, very happy until the injury occurs. There's just nothing else there. You're also going to play George Kittle. I know it was a bad week last week, but George Kittle is too good to be a donut every single week. He's going to get points. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Kendrick Bourne's been very good in relief of all the injured wide receivers, so he's probably a startable ass as well. And then, again, Mac Jones, deeper leagues, super flex leagues, probably a good spot start, even though Houston's got a good defense. For the Texans, no Nico Collins. That's going to really hurt, but that means someone like Hutchinson, Higgins, Noel, they're going to have to step up in that wide receiver game. Dalton Schultz at tight end is probably the best play on this offense right now because he is the most well-known asset. I don't think you want to play Nick Chubb or Woody Marks in this one, but again, it's a bye week apocalypse. There's 6 teams on bye. That means there's 26 starting running backs out there. 10, 12, 14 team leagues, you're playing everybody that's out there between flexes and the running back position. So you may be forced into it, but I don't think the best play is Houston. Losing Nico Collins is a big one, and I think that makes this pick a lot easier because Houston's defense has been pretty good. But Joel, crazy things happen in the NFL all the time. Who do you got?
Yeah, Texans, believe it or not, are the favorites here, flying minus 1.5, not quite a field goal.
I'm wondering how that changes with Nico officially ruled out, if it changes at all.
Minus a buck 25, so favored, but not by much. And over and under, the points have got to come from somewhere. 41.5. And while you mentioned the 49ers are a walking freaking injury ward, just somehow they keep pulling off all of these miracles. And the Texans really are missing a healthy Joe Mixon. I mean, they are just desperate for any kind of run game. I just don't see a letdown here for the 49ers because the Texans have just been underwhelming this year. I've got to pick the 49ers until they prove me out wrong otherwise. I mean, they absolutely stunned the Falcons last week.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about my Texans being last place in that division as the season goes on. Obviously, Tennessee is still there. That's probably going to be what stops it. Houston is still a 2-point favorite on Hard Rock Bet. Of course, in Florida, that's all you can use. But still a 2-point favorite with Nico Collins out, which means they made this line with the knowledge or the assumption that he was going to be out. I'm going to take San Francisco as well. I just think the talent, even with all the injuries, it's just too good. We saw that defense really step up last week in their game.
Shut
Just
down the Falcons. It was pretty
they
much
shut them down.
two and not a lot much else.
Bijan only had 40 yards rushing. Like, he wasn't dominant even. He did get the receiving touchdown, which helped, but they shut down a good Falcons offense. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, probably like a 23 to 10, 23 to 13 type of game. But I think San Francisco is just the better team here, and they get the job done.
Shall we go to Foxborough?
Yep, up to New England, where the Patriots, leading the AFC East at 5-2, host the Cleveland Browns. The Browns 2-5, coming off of their probably biggest margin of victory in about 5 years, beating the Miami Dolphins. It's just not fun to say. For the Browns, the Patriots do have a good defense, but I think Quinshon Judkins has to be in your lineup. Outside of that, probably Harold Fannin is your next best play if Njoku doesn't play, especially. Let me see if you've got any updates on his status, because that would be very important here. But I think Fannin can be played either way. Njoku is listed as questionable, probably on the favorable side, it says. So likely going to play, but I think Harold Fannin's the tight end you want. Njoku could be playable as well. I think if you're going to beat the Patriots through the air, the tight end position, especially with Dylan Gabriel, is where you're going to have to go. I don't think you can play Jerry Jeudy or any of the wide receivers in this matchup. For the Patriots, I've said it a few times, Drake May, you want to play him every single week, but what receiver he goes to, whether it's going to be Hunter Henry, whether it's going to be, last week was Austin Hooper got a touchdown, Stephon Diggs, Keyshawn Boutte, Demario Douglas, whoever it goes to, it's not going to be a consistent player. Take your shot if you need to on maybe a Diggs or a Booty, but this could very well be the week that Demario Douglas goes for 110 yards. The rest of the receivers are 3 for 40 kind of thing, not good in fantasy. Ramondre Stevenson is the guy in the backfield. Cleveland has been one of the best run defenses in the NFL. Again, on a normal week, this might be a let's bypass Ramondre Stevenson, go with some other options, but with 6 teams on bye, you may not have that luxury. The Patriots are 5-2, and I want to talk about how their schedule looks pretty good the rest of the way. Um, Play the Falcons next week, the Bucks in 2 weeks. That one should be interesting. Jets,
Mhm.
Bengals, Giants, Bills, Ravens, uh, Jets, and Dolphins. Like, there's a real possibility they get to be a 12 or 13 win team on the season, and that could be good enough to win the AFC East. But Cleveland has shown with their wins over Miami in dominant fashion and the win over Green Bay in less dominant fashion that they can be a needle in the side. We saw them stay close with the Vikings, saw them stay close with the Bengals week one with Joe Burrow. Maybe the Browns are a little bit better of a team than we give them credit for, especially with that defense, but the offense with Quidjon Judkins has been a little bit better. Who do you got?
Vegas is definitely buying into the Patriots being the real deal with Drake May all of a sudden. No Brady, no Belichick, no problemo. They're solid touchdown favorites, buck 375 favorites, and an over under of 40.5. Lion.
Yeah. You're taking the Patriots, I'm taking it.
Yes, true test here for May. Rough defense to go against, but you're still starting him. I mean, you're not. You kind of look if you have like Trevor Lawrence as your other
On
back.
bye, you'd be
Yeah,
again,
on
you'd be
bye.
forced into him.
Yeah, even if he wasn't on bye, I still
I'm
think
trying
he
to
would.
think of like who you would have with Drake May that you would play over him. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe a Caleb Williams against the bad Baltimore defense. Maybe a Jackson Dart who you picked up off of waivers against Philadelphia. Realistically, you're not going to have a Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen, and you're not going to make that decision
I
if
just,
you have Drake May. I
I just
think if you have Drake May, he's got to be in your lineup.
I just tend to think the Pats defense, rather than the Pats offense, is going to be more than enough to get by maybe an uglier game than you tend to think. There may not be quite as many points
Yeah.
as you might expect, as opposed to, say, last week. Hopefully, Diggs gets a little bit more involved. Dear Pats RBs, please, no fumbles. But yeah, I've got to roll with the Patriots. I wouldn't be surprised with a Browns upset, but it's just hard seeing that happening in Foxborough.
I think this is going to be uncomfortably close once again, but I do think the Patriots get it done. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is a 3-point game on a last second field goal or even goes to overtime. I just think that Cleveland defense is going to keep it close. This is going to be the big test for Drake May. If he comes out and annihilates this defense, I think the New England fan base gets really, really excited that they've got Drake May. Maybe not throwing around the Tom Brady comparisons, but they get that hope that maybe this is the guy that brings them back to the glory days of the long, long ago of 2019. And Cleveland, I think they're going to be a team that surprises at least one or two more teams down the line. This week could be one of them. I just think the Patriots are too well coached to let that happen. But I do think Cleveland hangs around much tougher than Patriots fans would want them to.
And then we go to Philly for the Wrath of Sirianni, the Vengeance, number
This
2.
this might be the most interesting game of the week for me because we did see the Giants go and pound on Philly in New Jersey, where the Giants play their home field. Going to Philadelphia is going to be a whole different animal. But Philadelphia, what's the line on this one?
Minus 7.5, so a little bit more than a touchdown. Buck 410 favorites for the Eagles, and over and under, not surprisingly, at 43.5.
I would take the over on this one. I do think the Giants' offense is too good to be shut down, and I think Philly's going to do better than the 17 points they got in week one. Last week was the first week they looked like a complete team for the majority of the game. They did have some downtimes, but no A.J. Brown for the Eagles. That means Goddard, Devonta Smith, they're going to be good options. Saquon Barkley has to get more involved without A.J. Brown, and
Yes,
then
moving
Jalen
it
Hurts
off
is
the
always
fantasy milk carton there.
yeah. Uh, Hurts is always an option for a tush push touchdown, so he's in your lineup as well. For the Giants, Cam Scatterbo is a top 10 running back on the season. If you're still doubting what what you should do with him, please put him in your lineup. Or if you're in my leagues, trade him to me because I will be happy to put him in my lineups in his place. Wando Robinson, while not as good as Malik Neighbors by any stretch of the imagination, has been good in relief in that number one wide receiver role. Maybe not the sexiest play, but I think he's at least in flex consideration for most teams this week. Jackson Dart, I mean, what can you say about the kid? Let's see what his stats have looked like through his time as the starter, um, because he's been good. Game log. Let's see. His first start, 18.84 points, 16.58. Last time against Philadelphia, 23.6. And last week against Denver, 29.42. Denver's got a better defense than Philadelphia. So I think back-to-back QB3 performance from Dart, I think you can play him. I wouldn't play him over a guy like, and I've got this in our 16-team league, Dak Prescott. I don't think you play him over Dak. I don't think you play him over Allen. I don't think you play him over Lamar. But outside of that, I mean, Jalen Hurts is even in debate. Daniel Jones, because of the week matchup against Tennessee, Jared Goff. Like, there's not a lot of people I'm looking at going, I should play over Jackson Dart this week. It's really your top notch guys that you're considering that with. It should be an interesting game. The revenge game for Sirianni. They lost 34-17 a couple weeks ago on Thursday Night Football, nationally televised game. Philly, though, at home, you got to think they're going to want revenge. At home's going to help them out. Who do you got?
The era of the dart has definitely arrived for the Giants, but even with Barkley being on the fantasy milk carton, as have been mentioned, all week long. You're just wondering what's going on with the near biblical regression from the absolute super stud of the Eagles. I still think the Eagles get the win, even if they're missing one of their air weapons with A.J. Brown out because of course, the hamstring. I think the Eagles can pull away late. I think the Giants are going to just absolutely be maybe competitive, but you have to wonder how much the aftershock of last week's fourth quarter comeback with 6 minutes to go, the absolute sheer historical epic collapse by the Giants, and how much that are still on their minds going into this week, going up against a division rival. It's got to be on their minds. It's got to hang around. I know it's next game, next day, put your focus ahead, but something that bad, something that bad just has to hang around. And so I've got to pick the Eagles. Plus, the Eagles are looking for vengeance. They're not going to want to get swept. Uh-uh. Ain't happening.
Yeah, I think you're going to learn a lot about the future of Brian Dable this week. I don't think the Giants have to win, but they cannot do what the Bears did last season after that Hail Mary game and just fall apart. If they come out and they lose this game 30-27, they're in it back and forth the whole way. I think Brian Dable's going to find a way to win enough games to save his job and get this team rolling into the future. I'm taking the Eagles as well. I just think the vengeance at home is going to be enough. Even without A.J. Brown, it does make me question a little bit just because you are losing such a weapon, but he didn't do much last time. What did he do last time against the Giants? It wasn't very much. For the Eagles, A.J. Brown was 6 for 80, so he actually had a decent game against the Giants a couple weeks ago. But I'm going to take Philadelphia. I just think they're too good, and I think that the Giants just are going to run into a little bit of a buzzsaw, an angry buzzsaw, and that's going to be the difference. All right, next up, Tampa Bay goes to New Orleans to face the scrappy Saints. The Bucks, 5-2, looking to rebound after a loss to Detroit. What's the line on this one, Joel?
Oh, sorry. Line was I was multitasking. Line 4, Buccaneers being the favorite, not surprisingly, not quite a touchdown, a little more than field goal, minus 4.5, minus up to $1.25 straight up from the money line, and over and under 46.5. And those are your odds for this game in the Big Easy.
Yeah, for Tampa, you're going to play Baker Mayfield and Emeka Ibuka. I keep wanting to say Begbu and it's Ibuka. Like, it's gotten so bad where I can't get the right one because I'm so used to mocking the other one. Ibuka. I think Kate Otton's a good play at tight end, and then someone like a Tez Johnson's a good dart throw. Rashad White has been good in relief of Bucky Irving. I've seen some crazy projections out there for him. I don't think he hits those, but he's still going to be good in relief. Chris Olave is going to be in your lineup for the New Orleans Saints, and Alvin Kamara without Kendra Miller is not going to be a bad option in the backfield. He's going to have to get a lot of passing work because typically you can't run on Tampa Bay unless you're Jahmyr Gibbs, apparently. Um, Bucks are 5-2, Saints are 1-6. These teams look like they're going in drastically different directions, but the Saints' offense has been decent all season long, and they've been competitive, much more so at home specifically. I think this would be a much easier pick if it was in Tampa, but in New Orleans, the Saints have been just a little scrappy. Is there an upset brewing here?
Yeah, you'd have to think Bucks are reeling a little bit. Emotional game with Mike Evans down on the field now, probably gone from the most of the fantasy season. Hopefully, we'll be back for the playoffs. Definitely sounds like it's heading in that direction. As the Bucks are banged up, but I think they tend to win this one for Evans. They kind of pull together and they get the victory for him. And I think the Bucks bounce back and you know, I think the Saints show enough to get to Olave or Shaheed. Pretty much they're two legit targets. And you mentioned it, will Otten be a good fantasy uptick for this game, especially with Evans and Godwin both just not out there and definitely noticeable this year as opposed to last year. And definitely will the Jets, wrong team, genius, will the Saints just shut down Abuka if he plays because they're capable of doing that because even without Lattimore, who now, of course, on the Commanders, the very banged up and injured Commanders, but yeah, I know the Saints have been sneaky good, but one of the main reasons why I'm picking the Bucks, Baker doesn't like them, and when Baker takes things personal, and I think he takes
Yeah.
just about everybody and everything personal. He's on a mission to pretty much hate a lot of things and a lot of
Yeah.
people. And when he's in that mode, he's switched on. Doesn't matter who's out there for his wide receiver core. As the joke says, he could throw to 7-Eleven employees. I think they get the job done. Might not be as the Bucks team that we're used to seeing out there, but I think they look a lot better than they did on Monday night. If hopefully the officials can suck less, because
Yeah.
God, the officiating was bad on that Monday game, and we see the Bucks that we know and love, and it can be a victory Monday come in a few days.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bucks as well. We saw Kate Otten last year when Evans and Godwin were out. Of course, they didn't have Ibuka. He stepped up and really played well. And even after Evans left this game last week, he stepped up into a bigger role. I think that continues. I think Tampa Bay's just got too many good players on both sides of the ball that's going to affect the game. Vita Vea should shut down the running game for the Saints.
I'm not sure if Vita Vea is playing because I think I saw
No,
something about not him not practicing on today.
I mean, let's. I'll see if I can find that for sure. But if he misses, that's going to be quite
Mhm.
interesting. He is questionable with a foot injury, unable to practice, and looks like a true game time decision. So that could be a big boost for Kamara if Vita Vea misses. There's still a good run defense, but if Vita Vea is in this game, he should shut down the offense for the Saints, making them one dimensional, and that makes any defense a little bit better at shutting down the team. I think the Bucks are going to outscore the Saints if nothing else. They're just too good on both sides of the ball. With or without Vita Vea, we'll find out with or without, well, without obviously in this case Evans and Godwin, I think they still have enough to get the job done.
Yeah, because the Bucks just next man up, just what a squad as far as that goes.
Next up, Dallas at Detroit. Detroit has taken this matchup personally since the Dan Skipper reported eligible that wasn't called game a couple years ago. So this could be a very interesting mindset for the Lions. Joel, the line on this one is what?
Which game?
Dallas at Detroit.
Dallas at Detroit. I thought they were at the Broncos.
I do have the wrong one. Thank you. Dallas at Denver. Typing is hard sometimes, guys. Yeah, I put the wrong team in there. Dallas at Denver. There is no Dan Skipper eligible receiver. We're just gonna.
You heard the torpedo hit the red October, and I was never here. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways,
As we
Dallas at
go to Mile
Denver.
High Stadium, as we said. It was a time
Yes.
slip.
It's a team in blue that starts with a D. What do you want from me? Come on. Dallas at Denver. Dallas 3-1-1. Denver is 5-2 on top
Da-
of the AFC
Dallas
West.
Cowboys, Detroit Lions. Yeah. I can see that.
The Denver Lions or the Detroit Broncos or the
That would be like
Dutch
going
apple pies. I
to
don't
an
know.
alternate universe.
I don't know. I say words. See, when people have watched Anchorman and you see Will Ferrell's guy just read the teleprompter, even if it says "Go f yourself, San Diego," that's what happened. I know it's Denver. I'm looking. I put Dallas at
Hang on,
Detroit.
you said Anchorman, so I have to go. News team, assemble.
Uh hot take. I'm not a fan of the Anchorman movies. But I'm not a big fan of Will Ferrell. But I do know that one, the line when you just read the teleprompter, even if it says something horrific. That's all I did. Anyways, Dallas at Denver in Colorado.
Broncos are the favorites. The Denver Detroit, no, the Denver Lions. The Denver Broncos. That would be the minus 3.5, minus buck 85, and over and under of 50.5 if we're in the right universe.
The Detroit Broncos. Lion Co's? I don't know. Anyways, for the
Hey,
Cowboys, you play everybody, even though it's a good defense. You're going to play
smart
Javonte Williams.
shuffle.
You're going to play Dak Prescott, Jake Ferguson, George Pickens, and CD Lamb, of course. For the Broncos, this could be a big game for J.K. Dobbins. Hopefully, for those of us who have R.J. Harvey in Dynasty, you start to see something come in fruition with this game because, well, the Dallas defense is pretty bad. You're going to play Cortland Sutton. You can play Mims and Franklin on a dart throw, and even Evan Ingram is interesting in this game because the Dallas defense is not as good as Denver's. That's a tongue twister. But I think Denver has shown some cracks against good offenses. This is a good offense, of course, in Dallas. Should be a high scoring game. It should be one of the better entertaining games of the week. Of course, Dallas can disappear as they do every once in a while. And we saw Denver's offense not do anything for 3 quarters last week and win. So this should be an interesting game throughout. I need to change my pick because it's definitely not Detroit. But I know I put all these games in order.
If we could do sound clips, you would definitely have a Muttley laugh there.
Yeah. Dallas at Denver. Joel, who do you got?
Broncos came back, and while you definitely could see that happen against this Cowboys defense, remember they doubled up a banged up Commanders team last week. Broncos healthier, but I tend to think the Cowboys have enough firepower with Lamb on one side and Pickens rocking on the other. That is just too much for the Broncos to get past. I think the Cowboys have emerged as a real threat in the NFC. And I'm picking the Detroit Cowboys, I mean the Dallas Cowboys, as my pick over the Denver Broncos.
I am taking the Detroit Denver Bronco Lions monsters of the Midwest / Rocky Mountains, whatever we want to call them. I'm taking Denver. I do think they're just too good of a team. I think that defense is going to shut down the offense enough. I don't think it's going to be by any means Dallas not showing up and putting up a good number of points, but I think the Broncos can get into the 30s. I think they keep the Cowboys just at 30 or below. It's going to be a high scoring game for Denver to win, and I think they get the job done. Yeah, I just think Denver's the better team. I really do at the end of the day.
Our first disagreement, I believe.
No, we disagreed on the Thursday night game as well,
Oh,
which
yeah.
did not go in my favor. And I took Chicago, you took Baltimore. So that is the
Oh,
second one
okay.
of the show.
Third disagreement. Yeah, you were going like the do something meme to the Vikings.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Speaking of do
We
something, the
go.
Tennessee Titans.
We go to dun 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 dun. Dun.
Yes, the Indianapolis Colts, the top team in the NFL based on
I,
record
I
at least.
I assume you've seen the odds for this.
I haven't, but let me guess. Let me break down the game first. Tennessee going to Indianapolis. The Tennessee Titans are 1-6. The Colts are 6-1. I'm going to say the line is Indianapolis by 11.5. The money line is probably about 500 in favor of the Colts, and the over/under is probably about 43.5.
Minus
Oh
14.5.
my God, it's so much worse.
Minus 1450.
Don't bet that one.
Over and under 47.5.
Okay. So yeah, they're giving those extra
It's
points in the
it's
differential all
it's
to the Colts.
college-esque.
It's getting there. It's rare to see the NFL go over 2 touchdowns. Although best versus worst in the NFL, which is this is pretty close to it right
Like
now.
one college team and another, and then it's like minus 47.5 favorite.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but I do think the Colts don't bet the money line. They are going to win, but it's just not worth it at that point. Um, Unfortunately for the Titans, there's really nobody who can play. Tony Pollard's about it.
Calvin
No
Ridley's
Calvin
out.
Ridley. They just released Tyler Lockett. I will say Alec Manor has entered my lineup in our 10-team Yahoo League because
If
of the AJ Brown injury. It's not ideal, but it's a bye week and
if
you have
when
bad
when
injuries.
Tyler Lockett was released, do you think the first words he said is, "Dobby is a free elf"?
I don't. I think he said, "Will Seattle take me back?" I think that's what the first words were. Anyways, for the Colts, you're going to play Tyler Warren. You're going to play Jonathan Taylor. You're going to play Daniel Jones. You're going to play Michael Pittman. You can even play Alec Pearson and Josh Downs in a deeper format. This should be a big offensive game. The Tennessee Titans have been like an 18 to 20 point scored type of team. So the Colts aren't going to just hopefully roll through this one and never have to score. Um, we just hope Tennessee can keep up early, get the fantasy goodness rolling for the Colts as well. I think Jonathan Taylor has a real possibility of going for 3 touchdowns and being the RB1 on the week, but it's not a guarantee that they win the game. Joel, who do you got?
Yeah, Titans are still ass. So Colts win by however much they want to. This game be over by halftime.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close to over at halftime. I do think the Colts take control of it. 14 and a half is a big spread, but this is one I wouldn't want to touch just because, I mean, it's Tennessee. They could absolutely just not show up in this one. Next up, we have the Aaron Rodgers revenge game
And that's
in
not
the
a
worst.
revenge game. It's not. He said it.
Definitely not. In the worst jerseys in NFL history, as the Steelers break out those yellow
In
things.
a game that historically the Pittsburgh team of that era lost.
Yeah, hasn't been good. So we'll see what happens with the jerseys. It's not. Hopefully, it looks better. I'll say this: like the Buffalo Bills, when they did the rivalry jerseys and they had those all white ones, when they released them online, they looked great. And on the field, they looked like the old Raiders, white and silvers that I didn't love. So hopefully for the Steelers' sake, this is one where it's like, oh, that looks really dumb, but on the field, it kind of looks better. Only time will tell. We'll find out Sunday night as we're waiting all day for this one. Packers at Steelers. Aaron Rodgers has the chance to become the fifth quarterback to ever beat every NFL, all 32 teams. Joel, the line on this one is how bad?
We're talking the
We're
the
talking about
waiting all day for Sunday night.
Green Bay at Detroit, I think it is now.
We're
Green Bay at Pittsburgh.
I thought it was okay. That's the alternate universe game again.
Everybody's playing Detroit this week, Joel. That's the joke.
Packers -3, so just a field goal favorites. Buck 162 and 45.5 from the over under flying.
Interesting. Green Bay, a road favorite. That's
I know. Because I was originally thinking, okay, Steelers should be the favorite, and then I go, what?
I would have thought this would have been a 1 point either way. I'm not surprised Green Bay could be the favorite because they're a very good team. But on the road against another good team in Pittsburgh, I figured at most 1 point, but I would have taken Pittsburgh by a point to 2 points, point and a half, something like that. For Green Bay, Josh Jacobs is questionable. If he plays, you're going to be putting him in your lineup. Tucker Kraft is the only really reliable wide receiver. Matthew Golden is now officially questionable. We'll see what happens with Christian Watson.
You mentioned Wicks isn't playing, right?
Wicks is out. Romeo Dobbs is probably the most safe wide receiver at this point, but you got to take your chance somewhere if you're going to play any of them. It's all up in the air. For Pittsburgh, Jalen Warren's been great this season. I think you got to play him.
Yeah,
Even
I know. I
though
benched him the other week when he went off, and it cost me my matchup hitting head against the wall like the Giants guy on scripted.
yeah, Cam Scattaboo. But yeah, I think he's got to be in your lineup. Aaron Rodgers has been sneaky good for fantasy. I think you can do well with him this week. Green Bay's defense, if you're going to beat him, it's been through the air. DK Metcalf's going to be in your lineup as well. And then Johnny Smith, Pat Frymuth are at least in consideration at tight end. They love to use their tight ends. We'll see what happens here. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, maybe it's not a revenge game, but he's got a chance to do something historic, and that's when he tends to step up. He's got the chance again to be the fifth quarterback ever to beat all 32 NFL franchises. Green Bay is the only one he hasn't beat because he was there forever. I think this is his first meeting against the Packers in his career. Green Bay, though, definitely doesn't want to be beaten by the guy they'll let go in favor of Jordan Love. So storylines all around. Joel, who do you got?
As the game of the hideous Steelers throwback uni, as you mentioned. And I've got to pick the Steelers here. Just home field advantage. It's Heinz Field. It's Heinz Field. No, I know they changed the name. It's still freaking Heinz freaking Field. Thank you. Packers keep things interesting, but until I don't know about late because all the injuries, but I think they can prove to keep things interesting. But I just have to roll with the Steelers. I think Rodgers is still going to be possessed. Maybe if even he says it's not a revenge game. Still, he's going to want to hand his former team another L, and I think he is going to be personally motivated. It's going to be prime time, only game on. All the eyeballs are going to be on him or Jordan Love, the the quarterback that is now versus the quarterback that was. And I think Aaron Rodgers wants to run off with into the sunset and ride off with yet another win. And it's hard picking against the Steelers, especially with the Packer injuries. So I got to roll with the Steel Curtain here, even
This
though their defense should show up, unlike against the Bengals.
Yeah,
Hmm.
this is a tough game to pick, and I'm gonna say it. I've gone back and forth, and you reminded me of the jersey one too many times, so I'm gonna take Green Bay. It's literally that close of a game where I just don't want that jersey to be successful. So I'm taking the Packers. I do think that both of these teams are good teams. I think the Green Bay Packers, with their hodgepodge of good wide receivers, I should say, and Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs is going to be enough. We've seen that Pittsburgh defense be inconsistent. Green Bay has been a pretty solid defensive team all season long, so they should be able to shut down that Steelers offense at least a little bit. And we know if the Green Bay Packers score exactly 27, they're going to win. So let's say they win 27-24. Last but not least, the Washington Commanders go to Detroit to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, I know I'm making too much of a joke. But the Chiefs hosting the Commanders on Monday Night Football. The Chiefs have gotten hot. Rashee Rice is back. I gotta assume without Jaden Daniels in the lineup, this is going to be a 5.5 plus point favorite for Kansas City at home. How close was I on that one?
12 minus
Oh my God,
12.5.
I am bad at picking lines.
Just a bit outside.
I'll take the
Okay, okay,
Commanders plus
okay.
the
How
point.
about the money line? Try the money line now.
Well, I'm gonna do this logically because the Colts were 14.5 point favorite and they were like 1,400. I'm gonna say it's 1150.
Minus 800. Wah, wah,
Okay.
wah,
Well,
wah.
I'm bad at this. This is why I don't gamble.
Over and under of 47.5.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's gonna be Kansas City,
Yeah, you
assuming.
think? No,
But
no scary Terry. No, no Romeo.
oh no no
Yeah,
no 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 no! First of all, Romeo Dobbs is the
no
Packers.
Debo Samuel. That's the name I was.
Debo Samuel's gonna play.
He is.
Debo Samuel practices in full on Friday, so he is expected to go back
Let's
into the
say
lineup.
no scary Terry.
And Terry McLaurin, I believe, is back at practice as
Ooh.
well. Let's see him. He practiced full again on Friday as well. So both of them are back. And I do think that makes a difference, at least in your viewpoint on this Washington
It's
offense.
going to be Mariota, not Daniels.
It is going to be Mariota, but we've seen him be decent in relief already. Kansas City does have a good defense. We saw that last week against the Raiders, but no offense to the Raiders. They suck.
There's another
They're
team that is definitely ass.
yeah, they are the they're real bad. They are one of the teams I'm worried about sneaking in for that number one overall pick. Um, Washington with Debo. with Terry McLaurin, that offense should be better. You can still have your guys like Luke McCaffrey, Zach Ertz chip in. Maybe this free things up for Bill Krosky Merritt. Of course, when you have no passing weapons on the outside, people are going to stop the run game a little bit more. Maybe this frees things up. Kansas City is very good against the run. It's a risky play, but again, week 8, 6 teams on bye. You're looking at 24 starting running backs that are played in the running back spots in most leagues. There's only 26 teams playing. Add your flexes up. He's probably in your lineup. For the Chiefs, Rashee Rice, definitely in your lineup. Pat Mahomes, definitely in your lineup. I'm going to say Hollywood Brown is a sneaky play. He's been on a nice little touchdown streak, and he's the wide receiver 23 on the season. Washington's defense is probably going to look to shut down Rashee Rice. Xavier Worthy also in that consideration, but I think Hollywood Brown is more of the safety net. Xavier Worthy, yeah, he might go for an 80-yard touchdown, but I think there's a better chance he has a bad night versus Hollywood Brown. And then Travis Kelce at tight end. It's ugly. It's gross. Hasn't been great. He's probably in your lineup again this week because of all the buys. Kansas City, a massive home favorite, as I definitely did not see that big of a margin coming. 4-3 on the rise. Washington looking like they're going the opposite direction. Joe, who do you got?
Yeah, just we all didn't win because there's only one game on Monday night flying. So
No more doubleheaders the rest of the way.
and no Sunday morning game. So that's a win for everybody. I know you have a crowd out there, people who tend to like the Sunday early morning games, but
Yeah, only 2 more of the international games as well. Week 10, it'll be Atlanta and Indianapolis in Germany, and Week 11, Washington playing my Dolphins in Spain.
and sorry for Spain, but
Yeah. What did they do to us? I mean, that just seems cruel. Atlanta and Indy in Germany? Hey, that's not too bad.
yeah, that can be sexy good. But you got the Chiefs pretty much back to full health. The battle station is fully operational, and you're going to have their patron saint, I'm sure, in attendance. We all know,
The refs?
me.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, that one. As
I made it funny.
as Mahomes just rolled past. I mean, I know he's had some pretty bad plays here and there, but he's still Mahomes, and I just think that they can roll past a very injury banged up. They're getting healthier. They're getting healthier, but I think they're still banged up enough that the Chiefs are going to be able to roll past them. And yeah, I think they'll underperform again. And I just can't pick the Commanders on the road. Can't pick them with how they've been banged up. They're getting healthier. People are coming back. But yeah, all of a sudden you had Daniels in, then Daniels out. Then all of a sudden he was coming back, then he's out. So yeah, like I said, all of a sudden you just you had Commanders fans wanting to go back to 2024. All of a sudden with the thrill, Snyder's gone, Harris is in. Hey, we have hope again, and all of a sudden, almost like one game away from the Super Bowl, and then kind of back to earth, back to reality. Got to pick the Chiefs. Got to pick Mahomes here.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. Commanders still have a few weeks to their bye week, so I don't think they're going to rush Jaden Daniels back at this point. Um, but it can get really bleak really fast because after this one, they have the Seahawks and the Lions. I'll be at the Lions game. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels is back for that, just because that'd be good. But I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think they're just too good. Pat Mahomes is on too much of a heater. Rashee Rice coming back springs this offense in ways that they needed badly. And the Commanders being so injured, especially at the quarterback position, it's hard to pick Marcus Mariota to beat Patrick Mahomes, and I can't do it. So I'm going to take the Chiefs as well. And we're going to move on quickly to final thoughts, and we'll start with Joe.
My final thought is just the smart things are great, and they tend to make your life easier. I don't know how many smart things you have or not, but this past week definitely reminded all of us with the AWS outage that smart is definitely convenient. Smart can be really cool. It can help you out. It can make your life easier. But let me tell you, all of a sudden, when it's not available, it made me glad that I was thinking of people who have all those smart homes, with smart locks and smart doors, and all of a
Yeah,
sudden, you have an AWS outage, and you can't get in your house. You can't turn on your lights, you can't turn on all the stuff that everything is plugged into, and even had a smart bed, like it was a smart bed. It was like 2,700 bucks. That because of the outage, it was bricked. I
yeah,
mean, so stuff like smart speakers and everything really tend to make your life a lot easier and more convenient. But just, something like the AWS outage, which was pretty much most of the day, because I remember all of a sudden when you wake up at an odd time early in the morning going, what do you mean my speaker won't understand me or it can't do when you just do a so and so, can you play whatever? And it goes, I'm sorry, I can't understand you. And then
yeah,
you see the evil red circle and you're going, rut row Rorge, and then all of a sudden you go, quick, to the Batcave, aka the internet, and you're like, yep, okay, yeah, there's something going on. Yay. And then you're keeping track of everything, and then finally things come back, and then you reset it, bring up, you have to repair your headphones and everything and fun. And a little bit of an inconvenience, a little bit of a technology is fun moment, but it just tends to sort of remind you, smart is great, electronics are great, technology is great, but when things tend to not work, when you have an outage like that, just sometimes dumb is not a bad thing.
yeah. If you can't get in your house, having a key that can override that would be great. And I don't have a lot of smart things in the house. Like I have a smartphone. I don't like the Alexa systems. I don't like all of that stuff. Um, I just kind of feel like I don't need it. I have a smart TV, but I think the smart stuff needs to be not essentials. Like your whole home being locked down because of a tech problem, that would be obnoxious. Smart thermostat, smart bed. I can't go to sleep comfortably because some providers' servers are down. I'd have a problem with that. So, no, I'll
Yeah,
take my old school bed and my old school house and
you
thermostat
you
and
can't make
all
can't
that.
make dinner or breakfast because everything is smart isn't working. That
Yeah,
would be a problem.
yeah, um, that would be a real issue for me. I just want to highlight the fact that the NHL season has been underway for about 2 weeks, and now with the Sharks winning last night over the Rangers, every team has gotten a win before the New York Jets. We'll see if the NBA can follow suit. About half of their teams already have a win because they're only about 3 nights in.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
As I mentioned on I think I can allude to what we talked about on the off-air show. If what will happen first if you have the Jets get a win or some certain files are released. If that's a good way of putting it.
yeah, there's I I I
That
I kind of
was that
like
a
the
safe
files.
non-political way of mentioning it?
Yeah, the island files. We'll just call them the island files. We don't have to go too deep into it. Unlike all the people in the files. Um, I think those get released first. I just kind of do. But it's bad. Again, Chauncey Billups gave me great odds that the NBA would all get a win before the Jets did. I think I'm going to take those because he knows betting really, really well. That's a
Yeah.
joke. I don't know Chauncey Billups. I'm not
Yeah.
affiliated with his gambling, but hey,
Mm.
yeah. The Sharks got a win last night. Macklin Celebrini a hat trick and 5 points. That's what you want to see. But now with that, they were the last team to win. They're not the worst team in the league right now, but that we'll see how long that lasts. Every team in the NHL, even though their season started a full month after the NFL, has now gotten a win before the New York
Yeah, I
Jets.
was just turning off the radio to and do Sports Shuffle Audible because all of a sudden it's like I'm like, okay, because I wanted to sort of listen to something other than just primarily football, and of course we have to go to Boston with the return of Brad Marchand and just the tearful reunion. Click. I mean, immediately I just had to like, no, I don't want to because when you're just the host, waxing poetic about how wonderful a scene it was, and they had the montage and the tribute. I'm like, I didn't like him when he was on the Bruins. I don't like him when he's on the Panthers. Still don't. Sorry. Can we talk about somebody else? Knees. Okay.
Yeah, Joel is a Lightning fan. If you couldn't tell, there are some wounds that don't heal. As a Sharks fan, I used to like Brad Marchand. I think he's a rat. He's an
Even when he licked
infuriating player.
even when he licked people?
Hey, he didn't lick me. I mean, trust me, I've seen some crazy things and just playing hockey and beer league hockey, rec league hockey. I've seen crazy things in the NHL. Given the licking was a little out there, but he is one of those heart and soul grit players. That's a very very talented player. He doesn't need to do the antics, but if it gets under his skin and gets a competitive advantage, it's hockey. That's kind of a good thing. And for a guy who was with Boston for his entire career, got traded because Boston's tearing it down, goes on to win a Stanley Cup, leaves on good terms. I didn't see the actual response, but I know it was very, very positive just because it's Boston. They got rid of him on good terms. He came back. He's a cult hero there. They got a cup with him there.
It's just a rivalry thing, some
I
people
get
just
it. Trust me. Trust me. When Tom Brady goes back to New England, they go, "Oh, look, it's Tom Brady. Eat Eat the wiener circle, Tom Brady. Eat the wiener circle. Ben Johnson, take your shirt off for the wiener circle." I think that's a good way to wrap this up. I am flying Ryan Rangokers along with.
Tampa Motor Mouth Joel Roll.
And I mean it, Tom. Eat the wiener circle, especially when Ben Johnson takes his shirt off in a game you're commentating because he's with Fox now. Wiener circle for Tom Brady. With that, we gone. Woo!